Hello, brothers and sisters. Today's date is Sunday, the 6th of July 2014, and the time is 11:27 a.m. in Western Australia. Now, first, I just want to say about this 4th of July thing. Look, people, I didn't say something was definitely going to happen. I just said something could happen. And I just want people to be prepared and alert, because as a watchman, you know, if I'm standing on a watchtower and I see an army on the horizon, or I know something's coming, I can see the lights in the distance, I can see the crow, you know, the birds moving, I know something's coming. My job is to warn, and if I warn and people listen, then that's good. But if people don't listen and I warn them, then the responsibility is on their head. But if I don't warn and people are slaughtered or people are killed because I didn't warn them, the responsibility is on my head, which means that I will be judged for not warning everybody else. Okay, people, so that's all I'm saying, is just be alert, be prepared, because something is going to happen. No one can put a date on it, because only God knows the day, the time and the hour of anything, really. But look, I just wanted to, in saying that, I just want to read a few verses, a chapter from Ecclesiastes, chapter 3, a time for everything. Everything that happened in this world happens at the time God chooses. He sets the time for birth and the time for death, the time for planting and the time for pulling up, the time for killing and the time for healing, the time for tearing down and the time for building. He sets the time for sorrow and the time for joy, the time for mourning and the time for dancing, the time for making love and the time for not making love, the time for kissing and the time for not kissing. He sets the time for finding and the time for losing, the time for saving and the time for throwing away, the time for tearing and the time for mending, the time for silence and the time for talk. He sets the time for love and the time for hate, the time for war and the time for peace. What do we gain from all our work? I know the heavy burdens that God has laid on us. He has set the right time for everything. He has given us a desire to know the future, but never gives us the satisfaction of fully understanding what he does. So I realized that all we can do is to be happy and do the best we can while we are still alive. All of us should eat and drink and enjoy what we have worked for. It is God's gift. I know that everything God does will last forever. You can't add anything to it or take anything away from it. And one thing God does is to make us fear him. Whatever happens or can happen has already happened before. God makes the same thing happen again and again. Now, people, the story of Daniel is the story of what we're going to go through, people. I'm serious. We're in the time of Egypt. It's going to be invaded by Babylon. And then Babylon's going to fall by the Medes and the Persians. And then the Greeks are going to come. And this is all going to happen instantaneously, people. Because what's happened before happens again. It's just God always replays history. And, you know, history is his story. Which, you know, so most of our history is what's been made up by the winner. The winner writes history. Okay, so God's Bible is the real history, people. We need to read his Bible and understand his words. Okay, that wasn't the whole of chapter 3. That was up to verse 15. So it was chapter 3 all the way up to verse 15. And then I just want to read the last chapter, chapter 12, from verse 9 to 14. But because the philosopher was wise, he kept on teaching the people what he knew. He studied proverbs and honestly tested their truth. The philosopher tried to find comforting words, but the words he wrote were honest. These sayings of wise men are like the sharp sticks that shepherds use to guide sheep, and collected proverbs are as lasting as firmly driven nails. They have been given by God, the one shepherd of us all. My son, there is something else to watch out for. There is no end to the writing of books, and too much study will wear you out. After all this, there is only one thing to say. Fear God and obey his commands, because this is all that man was created for. God is going to judge everything we do, whether good or bad, even things done in secret. Okay, so that's basically the story I wanted to say today, is that while we are alive, enjoy your lives, be humble for what we have, because everything we have has been given to us for a reason. Who we are and where we have come from in our lives has been some sort of training to get us to this point in time now, because we are at the end of the age, and we are God's chosen people. We are his army that is to stand up in the end time. We are to save souls of many and bring them back to the light before the end. I mean, I believe in a rapture, but then I also believe, you know, that the great day of the Lord, the harvest, you know, the weeds have to be separated from the wheat. So, I mean, I'm torn between the two, people. They're, you know, so many people say rapture, so many people say this. So realistically, I'm stuck in the middle. But I believe that the church, the true church, you know, there will be a wedding feast. So if that's the rapture, I'm all for it. I believe in the wedding feast, people. I do. Okay. Look, I love you, people. I need help. Everybody needs help, because, you know, nobody knows the Bible better than Satan. He's been here for all the reign of man. I mean, the Epic of Gilgamesh is a story of Nimrod, and they try to make it out like it's the flood of Noah, and that, you know, Enkidu and all these people are the gods, but they're actually the demigods that were fallen. Now, people, don't fall for these things. There is only one true Saviour, that is Jesus Christ. Now, people, you know, as I'm saying, the devil knows the Bible better than anyone, so he's had lots and lots of time to manipulate and take things out of the Bible. There's a Bible which is called the Apocryphal Bible, which has the Book of Enoch and other books that talk about the apocalypse. So there's things that have been removed out of our Bible. And I mean, the King James Version was written by someone whose name was King James, and he called it after himself, and then it's been revised again in the 1900s, and it's totally different from the late version which King James did. So the Bible keeps being doctored. Rick Warren, who is a person who stands up for Chrislam, he is changing the Bible as we speak through the people that actually write the Bible. There's a company that writes Bibles, and he has got them writing a Bible for Chrislam. So people, this is the time. The economical church is approaching us. We are falling under a one world religion, a one world monetary system, a one nation. Please, people, wake up, wake your brothers and sisters up. God bless you. I love you.